I can't accept failure because everyone fails at something, but I cannot accept not trying. Have you guys heard of this quote before? Do you know who said it? If you guessed Michael Jordan, you're right. I saw this week, and in another series of events that happened this week, I wanted to share with you guys the topic of impulsivity. It's something I hear a lot, and it's something that can be kind of confusing because the metric, I think, is a little bit different for everybody. But this quote falls in line with what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And my question to you guys would be, have you ever been called impulsive? Did it rub you the wrong way? Did you think about it? I do all the time. Like, all the time people call me impulsive. And it used to bother me a lot. I'm referencing my notes over here as a guide. But every time I hear someone say it, I just feel this like conflict inside of me come up. And there's this like tension. And I think it's because the definition is the tendency to act without thinking or the tendency to not think things through. And so, as I was saying earlier, the challenge for me is the way that one person processes thought and the way that one person processes things in general is different from another person. And so an example could be, like a fighter pilot or a bus driver that has like precious cargo and is like driving around and like is absorbing every single thing on the street, or like a fighter pilot's moving at hundreds, 1,000, whatever miles an hour, processing all these different things that are going by and analyzing like the distance of things, if they need to reduce speed or do this, altitude, up, down, like all of it, right? Like processing so many streams simultaneously. And so I think it was, I think, growing up frustrating for me to hear when people would say you're impulsive or so-and-so's impulsive, because I'm like, as a kid, it just felt like you're dumb. People are saying you're dumb. But I think as I get older, I realize like we all process things differently, and some of us process multiple streams of data at the same time. Like when I'm like in conversation with someone, I'm looking at their body language, I'm looking at what they're wearing, how they're presenting themselves, what do they want to tell me as a brand. Like I'm processing so many things beyond just the words, even on a Zoom call, right? And so not everybody is that way. When I'm driving, it's like the same way. Growing up, my dad, who's probably going to watch this, a lot of times he would say focus, like you need to focus on the road and the drivers and whatever. And so when we were driving, it was like you need to know who's on the left, who's on the right, like what's above you, but like everything, right? And then you're looking for potholes, what's below you. Like literally it was like hammered into me and my brothers that like you need to know what's going on around you, understand your surroundings. And so I think from a young age, even when we would work on projects, it would be like, you can't sit down, like you've got to be up working, and like be alert, like don't ever be in like a sitting down position or relaxed position, because if something falls or something breaks or you cut yourself, like you need to move quickly. And so there is this innate part of me that's processing multiple streams all the time in whatever situation that I'm in. And so I think for some people, if you've been called impulsive, maybe it's because you are. Maybe you just are an impulsive person. You have a crazy amount of things that you've done in your life that didn't really make sense and you didn't think through them. For me, I think there's a couple things I want to talk through. Number one, we all process, like I'm saying, at a different pace, at a different speed. We process the world in different ways. So what's impulsive to somebody may not be to somebody else. Okay. Patrick Bet-David had a video on this, and I'll put the YouTube link in the description, but he was talking about how big thinkers move fast. And he was like, in the video, he's like, big thinkers can smell out other big thinkers. Like they know when they're talking to somebody else that's a big thinker. Like actually today, it's funny. I got a message from Patrick Bet-David, and he was like, you can help me with this thing. As soon as I was done with the message, I went and I did the thing that he said he could use help with. And that, to me, that's not impulsive. It's like they've already decided on it. Like I messaged him, like I thought about this before I even sent my first note to him. And so anyway, that video is cool. It's interesting. It talks about how, a lot of entrepreneurs that are hugely successful, they move very quickly. They're not afraid to move quickly. They're more afraid of stagnation, not trying, not doing something, than moving quickly. And that's where that quote from Michael Jordan comes from. I can accept failure because everyone fails at something, but I cannot accept not trying. Cool. So then I think the next piece, and this is going to get a little woo-woo for you guys, but like a faith system. So if you guys have any sort of spiritual faith system beliefs, like a lot of those systems are rooted in like kind of giving you some assurance in how things end, like on multiple levels. And so for me, if I'm like, if I know how things end, if I know where I'm going, if I know the game I'm playing, like, what's there to be afraid of? Like, why would I be afraid? I'm more afraid of not trying something, not experimenting something, like not crystal meth, but like things in life or things that are on my growth path or things that are on the trajectory of like helping other people. They're like milestones that I'm interested in. If one of them comes up sooner, like I'm so down for that. In fact, actually, I want to find this. There's a quote today that I had in my LTGF journal, and I wanted to share this with you guys because I thought this was really powerful. It was, the perfect moment is never going to come. And I think that's so true. I mean, whether it's for kids, whether it's for starting a business, whether it's like whatever it is, there's never a good time to do anything. And so that's not your justification to sit back and do nothing and smoke weed and eat ice cream. It's like, just do it now and see how it goes and see what you learn from it. But if you have a faith system, you should already have some assurance in how things are going to end. And so there's not a lot to stress out about. Like, just try the thing. Okay, what's my last note here? So finding balance. I do like this. I've heard this a couple of times this week, which is if everything is urgent, then nothing is urgent. And so there is a balance between, and I think this is kind of where I would draw the line for impulsivity, right? Like if everything is urgent, nothing is urgent. If everything can wait until tomorrow, nothing will ever be accomplished. And so there is a fine line. And again, it's like, it's tough because we all process the world in a different way, and that line will probably be different for everybody. And so we're talking about stacking these levels of things that are all somewhat relative for each person. But my ending here for you guys is that sometimes impulsivity can be a superpower. I think there's a reason that a lot of successful people move very quickly. And to other people who don't move quickly, that probably looks like impulsivity. And so figure out, if you're not very impulsive, maybe there are some positives of it that you can leverage. If you have a lot of regrets in your past and you've done a lot of dumb things, maybe you're too impulsive. So I don't know if this helps. I hope it does, and I'll see you guys in the next one.